Glendora asked for $3,000 in damages, personal damages. This case went before the village justice George C. Dixon, and this is the night of the hearing, and what happened at that hearing is truly unbelievable. In fact, or the credulity of it, or the credulousness of it is, your credulity will be strained, and the credulous of it is very hard to take. But this is what happened. First of all, it was Glendora's case, and Dixon said to Kleinbaum, who was the lawyer for Natalia, do you have something you want to say about this? Well, you know, the plaintiff speaks first. Glendora is the plaintiff. Nasty Natalia is the defendant, and Kleinbaum is the defendant's lawyer. And it's just unbelievable that Dixon did this. And that was on the previous tape that was heard last week. So Kleinbaum is saying that, well, we don't have a specified amount of what it's for. We have a thing called personal damages, and then we have the names of all these people, and this is his objection to the case, and the objection, his basis for a motion to dismiss. Unbelievable. Let me play it for you. Let me rewind a little bit of it.
Please, 339.
And folks, you want to know an amazing thing? So I gathered up my papers and I left. It was 8:25 p.m. And the amazing thing is that, just a second, I have to fix the exposure. The amazing thing is Dixon didn't, or Kleinbaum didn't know enough to get up and leave and take Natalia with him. And Dixon didn't know enough to close the court. So there they sat, wallowing in putrid ex parte, okay? And doing their devil's work. Well, that's the docket up to April 13th. And it was a terribly rainy night and very, very dangerous driving. I had to drive a long way, and the lights would glare off of the asphalt, the wet asphalt, and the visibility was really bad, and I had to drive a long way. But I was thankful to make it home alive, and I was thankful that I stood up to this. I stood up to it. I was pressured, but I wasn't crushed. And so those are the two things that I rejoiced about. And the next morning, I filed the notice of appeal. It cost $5, and I made sure it got out on the 14th. And I served the other side. I served Kleinbaum, and I served Nasty Natalia at Conclave. And I got it into the court by mail. In between the March 30th contact with Dixon in court and the April 13th contact with Dixon in court, I made an executive decision. I said I was going to make a motion to Dixon, and he recused. But then, after the April 13th fiasco, the decision says, no, junk the motion to recuse and sue Dixon. Sue Dixon in a United States District Court for violation of my civil rights, which are so patently clear on that audio tape. And so that's what I did. And that complaint was called Glendora versus Bully Dixon and his wife, so Kirk, and Nasty Natalia, and then Brat's sister Lydia, Mother Marie, Father, Brother Carlos, and the preferred country properties, and so I sued Kleinbaum, and I also sued the village of Chatham for allowing this terrible violation of Americanism to go on year after year, month after month, week after week, and also the Chatham police.
$150? No, 200 miles. So yes, $150 to 50 cents a mile. This is the system. Coming back and forth to court and serving the paper. $200 to remove Jim, clean up the place that was down there, to the fence for a 6%. I think about more stuff with the and I'll read it. I can't read that. What can I read? I'm reading it too. I don't read it. I want that trash in the pure English. What if I read it? No. Yeah. The Declaration of the United States was not typewritten. Doesn't matter, man. I'll argue the Declaration. I'm arguing that just submitting a sentence in this court, and it's not legal. All right? No, all right. You want to say what I said? That's what I got my own word. I don't care what you think of that letter now. Just, you want to say what I said? So you have to point with conversion? Yes. I want to make sure you understand that. Okay? Can you say what?
And folks, you want to know an amazing thing? So I gathered up my papers and I left. It was 8:25 p.m. And the amazing thing is that, just a second, I have to fix the exposure. The amazing thing is Dixon didn't, or Kleinbaum didn't know enough to get up and leave and take Natalia with him. And Dixon didn't know enough to close the court. So there they sat, wallowing in putrid ex parte, okay? and doing their devil's work. Well, that's the docket up to April 13th. And it was a terribly rainy night and very, very dangerous driving. I had to drive a long way, and the lights would glare off of the asphalt, the wet asphalt, and the visibility was really bad, and I had to drive a long way. But I was thankful to make it home alive, and I was thankful that I stood up to this. I stood up to it. I was pressured, but I wasn't crushed. And so those are two things that I rejoiced about. And the next morning, I filed the notice of appeal. It cost $5, and I made sure it got out on the 14th. And I served the other side. I served Kleinbaum, and I served Nasty Natalia at conclave. And I got it into the court by mail. Before, in between the March 30th contact with Dixon in court and the April 13th contact with Dixon in court, I made an executive decision. I said I was going to make a motion to Dixon and he recused. But then, after the April 13th fiasco, the decision says, no, junk the motion to recuse and sue Dixon. Sue Dixon in a United States District Court for violation of my civil rights, which are so patently clear on that audio tape. And so that's what I did. And that complaint was called Glendora versus Bully Dixon and his wife, so clerk, and Nasty Natalia, and then Brat's sister Lydia, mother Marie, father, brother Carlos, and the preferred country properties, and so I sued Kleinbaum, and I also sued the village of Chatham for allowing this terrible violation of Americanism to go on year after year, month after month, week after week, and also the Chatham police. And then I had to work 2 hours a day from that date forth until the time that I filed that in United States District Court, Chicago. And the Chatham village, village of Chatham and Dixon hired an attorney in Indianapolis. Now that was a good thing, because that was punishment. That's huge punishment right there, to hire an attorney. And then I filed the notice of appeal, the great big fat thing that I showed you last night, that was served last night. It was not served as a notice of appeal, it was served as an argument for the appellant's brief because it had 5 attachments. And that is really the argument. And I sent a copy to the county clerk and then the county, to the county judge named Nichols, and his clerk, Clark, returned it. If Clark were a clerk, if Clark were a clerk in Great Britain, he would be called a clerk, because that's how they say clerk in Great Britain. They call him a clerk. Now I think that we're ready. That's the background you needed to understand this appellant's brief, which was served last night. So it was Supreme Court, County of Columbia, State of New York, United States of America, Preferred Country Properties, Plaintiff Appellee versus Glendora, Defendant Appellant, Appellant's brief. Argument. Glendora submits his argument, all 5 attachments, to her notice of appeal served May the 24th, year 2004, upon Chatham Village Court, upon the Preferred Country Properties Group, upon James Kleinbaum, and when written upon Ceresia Littman, Primadora, Judith Kay, and the New York State Commission on Judicial Conduct. All parties have been served. She returns to the Appeals Court, County Court of Columbia, her notice of appeal with attachments, which book was returned to Glendora by said court. As to the record on appeal, all parties and non-parties listed in paragraph 1 super have been served all court papers and all motion practice. Both what I said and what the county court said and what Kleinbaum said. On March the 18th, 2004 to today, August the 23rd, 2004, on the dates that they were completed. Glendora graciously volunteered to make a docket. And this docket, which I decided not to read you, is 12 pages. And it took hours and hours. Kleinbaum is all wrong that Glendora has to prepare the appeal. Glendora has been in too many courts of appeal to be duped. And I will name them to you folks. The appellate term, the second department in Brooklyn, the appellate division, the second department in Brooklyn, the appellate division, first department in Manhattan, the United States Court of Appeals for the First Circuit, Boston, the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit, Manhattan, then the United States Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit, Philadelphia, the United States Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit, Richmond, Virginia, the United States Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit, New Orleans, the United States Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit, Cincinnati, the United States Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit, Chicago, the United States Court of Appeals for the Eighth Circuit, Denver, hold everything, strike that. The United States Court of Appeals for the Eighth Circuit, St. Louis, the United States Court of Appeals for the Ninth Circuit, San Francisco, the United States Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit, Denver, the United States Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit, Atlanta. All Glendora was required to do was settle the minutes and notice the appeal to be argued. The lower court did the docket and the record on appeal. Glendora's noticing the appeal ready to argue is on a separate sheet. Glendora should not have to do all this. It is up to the clerk of the lower court to do this, and that's Mrs. Joanne C. Dixon, wife of the justice of the Village Court, Chatham. Glendora wants her filing fees back for both cases, Preferred versus Glendora and Glendora versus Nasty Natalia, $10 total. This is consumer fraud. The clerk's office was paid to do a job and did not do it. If the paper is late, and it may not be, then Glendora deserves leniency because it took 19 hours to write plaintiff appellant's reply brief back to back to defendant appellant, the instant paper being written now. See, there's two cases, Preferred versus Glendora and Glendora versus Nasty Natalia. Glendora does not understand why she does not have 3 judges in this appeals court. Appellate term and all U.S. courts of appeal have 3 judges. The appellate division has 5, the New York Court of Appeals has 7, and the Supreme Court of the United States has 9. The minutes of the proceedings, euphemistically called in Chatham Village Court, are in attachment 5, taken from Glendora's audio tape. That's just what you heard now. The audio tapes are being cablecast on Channel 7 Chatham and 7 other municipalities, Charter Cable TV, and webcast on www.achatwithglendora.com sometime in September 2004. Page 5, paragraph 15 is reserved. On May the 15th, Glendora received this order, dated May the 4th, 2004. I should not have called it an order. Well, yeah, okay, all right. Okay, that's all right. Chatham Village Court. Notice of civil judgment. That's right, it wasn't an order. I shouldn't have said order, that was wrong. It was not an order, it was a notice of civil judgment, whatever that is. And it says, please take notice, after hearing the proof and facts between the parties and deliberating thereon, the court's decision is judgment for damages in favor of the plaintiff, that would be Nasty Natalia, for the amount of $1,995.39 against the above defendant, Glendora, and is signed George C. Dixon, village justice. Make that figure 2,000, okay? It's too complicated to remember all that, but it was very close to $2,000. In fact, within $4. And then came the notice of entry from Kleinbaum of the order. And then came within 20 days, Glendora submitted her notice of appeal with attachments to the Chatham Village Court, and she enclosed the $5 filing fee. I think we're going to have to, of course it isn't warm enough, it's like 85 degrees, so we're going to have to dispense with the gloves so we can turn the pages. And here is a copy of the front page notice of appeal with attachments, with a note to the clerk, make certain that these attachments go to the county court with the notice of appeal. Glendora, please take notice that Glendora appeals to the county court the notice of civil judgment by George C. Dixon, Village Court, Village of Chatham. Dixon's paper is dated May 4th, 2004. Glendora appeals the same in its entirety. And that was dated May the 11th. Now, intra is the affirmation of service by mail. It was served on Kleinbaum. It was served on the Natalia group. And attachment 1 of this notice of appeal was 36 pages, and it was reproduced herein as the first page. You remember all this because I read it to you on TV. That's the first page. And it makes very, very strong points that from the beginning, George Dixon did not have jurisdiction over Glendora because Kleinbaum, Natalia failed on service pursuant to the New York State the Real Actions and Proceedings Law, which says in personam service, it says regular mail, and it says mail and mail. It has to be affixed. Then attachment 2 was Glendora's 102-page summons and complaint, served March the 23rd, 2004, and it looked like this. That was started my lawsuit, Glendora versus Nasty Natalia, Brett, Sister Lydia, etc. And attachment 3 was and is Glendora's complaint against bully George Dixon through Preferred. And the first sheet looked like this, and this complaint was filed in the United States District Court for the Northern District of Illinois, i.e. Chicago. Now, pages 116 to 218 record what happened on April the 13th, 04, at the hearing so-called on damages. That's a tape that you just heard the tail end of this week, and last week you heard the whole tape, for which no complaint was ever filed. The point there is that once I vacated the premises, because I didn't want anything more to do with the likes of Natalia, once I vacated those premises, the case was over, because it was petitioned for a 3-day eviction. Well, if you're moved, there's no eviction. There's no eviction. I was not evicted. I voluntarily moved. And then they come up with damages, and Dixon lets them do this, when they should have filed a new complaint and said these are the damages and these are what they are for. The well-pleaded complaint, and so Kleinbaum and Natalia failed on that. These pages also include a transcript of the audio tape of that so-called hearing, and this is attachment 4. Attachment 5 is Glendora's ad hominem for $3,000 submitted to the court April the 13th, 04 hearing and served on Natalia and Kleinbaum and Dixon's. Well, how can anybody be called a justice of the village court when he lets the defendant speak first? The case was Glendora versus Nasty Natalia et al. Glendora is the plaintiff. Is the plaintiff. No, it's the state in New York State. They're the plaintiff. The plaintiff has not produced an injured body. Nobody's been injured by you not wearing a seatbelt. Nobody's been injured by you going through a red light. Well, the tape got tired of listening to this, and I don't wonder. So, we had to put in a new tape. And we have to go back. Over onto the VHS, it said that we left off at the justice, obstruction of justice. This is obstruction of justice, state analog to U.S. Criminal Code, Title 18, Section 1503. Glendora has been denied her rights to do this. Within 20 days after the return has been filed with the county court, the appellant must notice the appeal for argument and the appellant's brief with proof of service of a copy on the respondent at least 14 days before the return date with the county court clerk. Respondent's brief must be filed within 12 days after service of appellant's brief and proof of service upon appellant. This is from Title 22 New York Code Rules and Regulations, and it's Section 202. Glendora is prohibited from carrying out the appeals court order of August the 3rd, 04, page 1, paragraph 3, which says that she was given a stay. I asked for a stay of execution of this phony $2,000. It doesn't amount to a hill of beans because I don't have $2,000. You know, if they're going to try to rip off somebody, take somebody with money. I don't have any money. So, and they can't collect it anyway. There's no way, it's not collectible. And I asked for a stay of execution, and it was denied. And then I wrote back, and because they said I didn't put down an undertaking. An undertaking doesn't that have to do with something when somebody dies? And so I asked somebody, and they said, oh, an undertaking is usually twice the amount of the judgment. Well, that's ridiculous. And so I said to the county court, then you pay it. You pay the undertaking. Because I applied for informa pauperis, proceeding without payment of fees. And I gave them 8 pages of, you saw it, 8 pages of what money comes in and what money is spent, what's for postage and what's for printing, what's for gasoline, what's for food, and what's for rent, and everything was 8 pages. And that convinced them. And so they did stay the execution. And I read that to you on TV, that ordered that all proceedings on the part of the of preferred country properties and the county sheriff be well, anyway, be prohibited. So we got to stay. And then Glendora says, likewise, the appeals court, that's the County Court of Columbia, is prohibited from doing its job, which is county court considers the case and issues the decision. Now this is a relief requested. Now this is really a kicker. Wherefore, therefore, and ergo, defendant appellant Glendora pleads that this court vacate the notice of judgment of May the 4th, 2004, and award her $2,000, or rather $3,000, for compensatory and punitive damages caused her by George C. Dixon, the justice of the village court, and his wife, the clerk, Joanne Dixon, caused her by the Dixons, preferred country properties, James Kleinbaum, and the Natalia Group, the village of Chatham, and the Chatham Police. And payment shall be in postal money orders. The Dixons' part of this payment should be a sanctioned fine. August the 23rd, 2004, Anno Domini, County of Columbia, State of New York. Yours in truth and in amor patriae, Glendora. And I'm protected by U-Form Commercial Code, Book 1, Section 207. And here is the service list, but then I showed you that, didn't I? The Nichols Clerk, Preferred Country Properties, James Kleinbaum, the Dixons, the Chatham Village Court, Ceresia Littman, Pumadora, Judith K., the New York State Commission on Judicial Conduct, the Center for Judicial Accountability Incorporated, to you, Glendora TV audience, which is the most important, and to the Internet audience, and to George McDermott, Great American Patriot in Washington, D.C. And here is the service, and the service was last night, and you witnessed that on last week's program. Wow. I have to read you some jokes. I'll read you last week's jokes, so whatever, a few weeks ago. The chat with Glendora has a happy ending. Everybody's glad when it's over. And the teacher says for every student with a spark of genius, there's 9 others who have ignition problems. She said it was great in the old days. The kids used to bring you apples, and now they drive you bananas. And behind every successful man is a proud wife and a flabbergasted mother-in-law. And it's good that the senator during the election was out campaigning in all of the outlying districts, because during the campaign he was outlying in all of them. And Gatorade, a woman thought, was welfare for crocodiles. And the lady said to the travel agent, how long does it take to fly to Rome? And the travel agent says, just a minute. The lady says, that's not bad. Then the wife says to the husband, we ought to move into a more expensive apartment. The husband says, don't worry, dear, the landlord will be raising the rent on this one. And the couple who had identical twin girls, and they named them Kate and Duplicate. The man was in the maternity ward, and a new father said to him, here, have a cigar. And the man says, well, is it a boy or a girl? And the new father says, I don't know one cigar from another. Okay, this is Chat with Glendora. 45 TV stations. Equals 450 municipalities, because each TV station like this one covers about 10 municipalities. And it's also on the internet all over the world. There are 41, I think there are 49 shows, half-hour shows, on the internet. You can watch it on the computer screen the way you do on the TV screen. Is that all? You know what this took? I started this at 8 o'clock and it's 3 o'clock this afternoon. How long is that? 7¼ hours it's taken to bring you this report. It's a terrible call, but it has to be done. So keep your courage flaming, and if you like the show, tell everybody, and if you didn't like it, just keep it our little secret. This is the Adelphia bankruptcy. Glendora is a creditor, and these acquisitives named UBS Securities and Allen and Company and Lazard Frere are wringing every dollar that they can, taking it away from the creditors, and getting paid enormous amounts for selling the Adelphia cable TV station. And what is there to sell? You know, how many people will buy them? It'll be Time Warner, Comcast, maybe Charter, but it certainly won't be Cablevision. They don't have any money. And so it's a story of greed, and we're just letting them know that you know what they're up to. Adelphia bankruptcy. Poor people, I feel sorry for the Regas family. A woman was asked, why do you take your paycheck to the bank every week? And the woman said, because it's too little to go by itself. Well, we finally finished the Adelphia bankruptcy, and all these avaricious people, Michelle David Weil, Lazar Frere, and we took a good shot at Lazar Frere and said all the things that I've told you for years. The clerk of the bankruptcy court, one Bowling Green. I wonder if they do any bowling there. Robert E. Gerber, one Bowling Green, New York, the judge of the bankruptcy court. This is the Adelphia bankruptcy. The CEO who will not let anybody know his name. UBS Securities, 299 Park Ave, NY 10171. Donald B. Keogh, Allen and Company. These are the people who want to sell the Adelphia cable TV stations. You know that Glendora is a creditor in this case, right? Shelley Chapman and Morris J. Massel and Mark Abrams and Wilkie Farr Gallagher, a big law firm. Avaricious, acquisitive. Tracy Hope Davis, U.S. bankruptcy trustee. She's the one who said sell the TV stations, I would say. She's the one. Here's the son of Joseph. Latham and Watkins in Los Angeles. Who are they? Nobody ever told this creditor. Richard D. Mason and Rosen and Katz, New York. Who are they? Nobody ever told this creditor. Now here's the application that they didn't. Oh, ooh, boy, put your arm out of shape. This is Glenn's copy. I've really read this to you on TV in talking to you about it in the Brooklyn Library and the White Plains Library and getting the addresses. Now here's the application. What do you think of that? Now, what do you think of that? What do you think of that, huh? What do you think of that? Is this master greed or... Yes, it is. And here is a log. And how many hours did it take? This log. Log, how many hours did you say it took? 13 hours. Really, there's something better to do with a life than that. And how much did it cost? About $45, $46 to print and post. So that's when you go down to Manhattan, you see these faces walk along the avenues and the streets. That's what's on their minds. Money. How can we get somebody else's money? How can we steal money? That's what it's all about. This is the motion to remove Glendora's case against Adelphia and the Reguses. It was in state court, and the federal court, Gestapo, came and yanked it out of state court and put it in federal court, and I have no relief. You know, what is the relief on this? Where is the relief on this?
How come you take your paycheck to the bank? Every time you get your paycheck, you take it to the bank. Why do you take it to the bank? She said, it's too little to go by itself.
Okay, Glendora.
All right.
Thank you for calling.
Okay.
Take care and have a good day.
Yeah, take care of yourself.
Okay, thank you.
Jim Cahagan, a friend of many years. Many years. I would say 20. 1983. We met in White Plains, Franklin and Jim and myself. It's a very hard fight that Jim has with battle with asthma. It looks very bleak at times. So I sang him this song.
Absolutely, Jim.
You know, you can't change it. You know, it's like when you get up in the morning, every day is a challenge.
Be still, my soul, the Lord is on thy side. Bear patiently the cross of grief or pain. Leave to thy God to order and provide. Through every change, he faithful will remain. Be still, my soul, thy best, thy heavenly friend. Through thorny paths leads to a joyful end.
Well, dear people, I'm down to the next to the last legal paper. That would be a listing of the violations of the Code of Ethics and Standards of Practice of the National Association of Realtors by Natalia and Lydia and Preferred Country Properties in Chatham. So I'm down to that. One got out today, Adelphia. And the last one is Omnibus 23. Well, the whole point is that gives me a little time to do some telephoning. And to do renewals. These crazy, exasperating, illegal renewals. And I worked an hour on them already, and I sent out those foolish forms as to the disposition of the tapes. And Cecilia withheld cable casting a chat with Glendora and Harrison because Cacciola hadn't filled out that form yet. And there's just no statutory authority for that. And then I'm trying to collect my tapes. My tapes! They don't belong to the signer, they don't belong to Cablevision, they belong to Glendora. So I called Zeke and I said, Zeke, were you able to get down and get the tapes? And he says, they never called me back. Well, that sounds like Cablevision. So he says, you got the number again? And he says, I can't go down until Friday. And it'll be Friday morning. So I gave him the number again for Walter Sands. And over in Yorktown. And I called up, and Zeke said he'd pick him up Friday, so I called up Walter Sands, and this is exactly what happened. I said, Zeke Hunter is planning to pick up the Chat with Glendora tapes Friday. Will somebody be there? And Walter Sands, without a word, and after 15 seconds, hung up the phone. Isn't it awful that Cablevision can demoralize a person like that? Isn't that awful? So I called Zeke. I said, Zeke, I said to Walter Sands, who answered the phone, that Zeke Hunter will be down Friday to pick up the tapes. Will anybody be there? And he hung up, and Zeke says, you're kidding. He says, I'll call him just as soon as I get through with this customer. Let him have a piece of your mind, Zeke. Big Zeke will take care of me. Folks, here is a great champion of public access and a great champion Well, dear people, I'm down to the next to the last legal paper. That would be a listing of the violations of the Code of Ethics and Standards of Practice of the National Association of Realtors by Natalia and Lydia and Preferred Country Properties in Chatham. So I'm down to that. One got out today, Adelphia, and the last one is Omnibus 23. Well, the whole point is that gives me a little time to do some telephoning and to do renewals. These crazy, exasperating, illegal renewals. And I worked an hour on them already, and I sent out those foolish forms as to the disposition of the tapes. And Cecilia withheld cable casting a chat with Glendora and Harrison because Cacciola hadn't filled out that form yet. And there's just no statutory authority for that. And then I'm trying to collect my tapes. My tapes! They don't belong to the signer. They don't belong to Cablevision. They belong to Glendora. So I called Zeke and I said, Zeke, were you able to get down and get the tapes? And he says, they never called me back. Oh, that sounds like Cablevision. So he says, you got the number again? And he says, I can't go down until Friday. And it'll be Friday morning. So I gave him the number again for Walter Sands. And over in Yorktown, and I called up, and Zeke said he'd pick him up Friday, so I called up Orland Sands, and this is exactly what happened. I said, Zeke Hunter is planning to pick up the Chat with Glendora tapes Friday. Will somebody be there? And Walter Sands, without a word, and after 15 seconds, hung up the phone. Isn't it awful that Cablevision can demoralize a person like that? Isn't that awful? So I called Zeke. I said, Zeke, I said to Walter Sands, who answered the phone, that Zeke Hunter will be down Friday to pick up the tapes. Will anybody be there? And he hung up, and Zeke says, you're kidding. He says, I'll call him just as soon as I get through with this customer. Let him have a piece of your mind, Zeke. Big Zeke will take care of me. Folks, here is a great champion of public access and a great champion of the workers. This is Mr. Brian O'Hare, and I met his daughter Olivia, and I think she's a darling little girl.
Okay, hon, that's good. Now, if you make her up in, we'll give another one. Tell your daughter I'm sorry. She really won't eat it because you're with me, that's why.
That's okay, Glendora.
No, it isn't.
I'll tell her you said hello, though.
Yeah.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
How old is she?
Bye. Want to say hello to her?
Yes, I do.
Okay, here she is. Let me say hello to Glendora. She's on TV.
Hello? Hello, how are you?
Who is that?
Glendora?
Glendora?
Yes, you have a nice voice.
Thank you.
Yes, you do. Do you know what happens when ducks fly upside down?
They fall upside down?
No, they quack up.
Oh, it's a joke.
What is your name?
Olivia.
Olivia. Olivia?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that a pretty name?
Thank you.
Do you like the name Glendora?
It's a good name.
Yes, it is.
Very long one, too.
Yes. Yes. Olivia, I'm very happy to meet you.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way you talk.
Thank you.
Very good for 9 years old.
Show?
What?
Is this a show or something? Because that's what my dad said.
Well, I have a show.
Oh.
I have a show. Yeah, this is not a show, no.
Oh, okay.
But I do have one. Oh, Olivia, you're nice to talk to you. I like the way you talk.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Did I put my dad back on the phone?
Yes, please.
Okay. Let me just give him the phone.
Oh, thank you, Olivia.
Okay, thank you, man. All right, bye. All right, thanks, Mike. That's no problem. All right, you have a good day Sunday? Yeah. Okay. The phone's been acting up, but... All right, thanks for coming by. Okay. Yes, Glendora?
She's adorable.
Yeah.
Oh, she's so cute.
She's the greatest.
Oh, yes, she is.
Okay, let me run.
Yes.
I'll talk to you soon.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay.
Now, a woman was asked, why do you always take your paycheck to the bank? And she says, it's too little to go by itself.
Oh, that's my line. That's great. You take care, Glendora.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Well, the skunks have already emptied a bowl of Frito-Lay corn chips, and I don't wonder that they do. Here's one laying down there. Can you see him? Or her, probably. And there's a package of crackers for them, and a half a loaf of bread, and cream corn. They love cream corn. And then microwave popcorn. Oh, and Reese's has a peanut butter cup made with white chocolate. So I gave them 2 of those, and of course they love those. I do too. Yep, that's a Reese's peanut butter cup. Didn't take him long to find that, did it? There's the other peanut butter cup. Here's what we're looking at. This is what we want to see. It's the new moon. There he is. Now the day is over. Night is falling near. Shadows of the darkness steal across the sky. Father, thank you for the night and for the pleasant morning light, for rest and food and loving care, and all the day that is fair. It's errands time. Bulletin. Glendora's listing of Natalia, Lydia, preferred country properties of Chatham. Listing of the violations of the Code of Ethics and the Standards of Practice of the National Association of Realtors are a rectangle. Is 85 pages long. The writing is finished. The printing has started. It's going to be 20 sets, 90 pages. It'll be 900 sheets. That'll be 2 reams. It's such a massive job that it can't be fit into the regular pattern of 15 minutes a day. So every day, in addition to everything else, we'll have to print 10 pages. Outstanding is Omnibus 23, suing the new lawbreakers, the lawbreakers of August and July. Maybe June? Bulletin. Andrew Hersman is coming up from Long Island, and he's going to set up an old computer that he had. He's refurbished, and he's going to set it up and make Glendora learn to operate the computer. Bulletin. The important thing is, will this computer do graphics for a chat with Glendora? Bulletin. And at the lavish attainment of the graphics at Lynbrook Cablevision, of which Charles Dolan robbed Glendora in the year 2002. Bulletin. The telephone was working just fine. I went to make the next call, and they threw in every sound they had. Reorders, static, screams, worst sounds you ever heard. Neighbor Carol came over and called the telephone company. Little tiny telephone company, which is also a cable TV company. It's fun. It's fun. And they told Glendora to take the instrument over to Carol's house and plug it in. Carol did that, and it worked fine. They told Glendora to disconnect everything connected to the phone. Well, nothing's connected to the phone. Is it the only line you have? Yes. And to bring Carol's phone over to Glendora's, and the same cacophony came over Carol's phone. So, conclusive, it was the telephone company line. And so they wrote out what they call a trouble ticket. And with 3 minutes, I kid you not, within 3 minutes, the telephone repair truck and repairman were there. And he says, this will take me 5 minutes. And it was a little attachment with 4 knobs on it, where you attach all the wires. That had gone bad. And he did have it fixed in 5 minutes. And he was handsome. His name is Matt. Such a handsome young man. All the attributes. Physique, blonde, and hazel green eyes. Beautiful eyes. What a handsome young man. Bulletin. Adelphia is ready to serve today. The Adelphia bankruptcy, where all of these greedy, voracious vultures of Wall Street are going to charge $250,000 a month retainer to try and sell the Adelphia cable TV stations. And they're going to get $23 million if they do sell it, and then they're going to have an expense account, and they're going to have all kinds of other funds, names you never heard of. Bulletin. Glendora is mailing out those cookie forms from Cecilia Masterilli and Christine Savarino. She's mailing them all out. Glendora is all filled out. She sent them to the signers, filled them in for the signers, and the signers just signed and dated them. So those are being served today. Chat with Glendora is on in Harrison. The Chat with Glendora is on in New Rochelle. Robert Jackson is a gentleman through and through. It's so patent that he had a beautiful mother. He is just a great human being. And he gathered up all those tapes, 40 of them, put them in a box, and sent them, walked it from 47 Purdy Street to the Harrison post office, carrying that big box because there's no place to park. You could park at Dunkin' Donuts. I remember what a furor there was about having Dunkin' Donuts in that town of Harrison. People opposed it. Oh, I know. It was a donut shop across the street that opposed it. Bulletin. Glendora worked 2 hours Wednesday on renewals, and 2 hours Thursday on renewals. Odious renewals. Bulletin. There are, which is such a pretty hill, 48 TV programs on the internet, a half an hour each. Bulletin. A Chat with Glendora is headed into its 4,000th half-hour program. Present number is 3,847. How long will it take to get to 4,000? Who knows? Last 2 weeks ago, it was 9 programs, and 4 weeks ago, it was 18 programs. 18 different editions, 18 different half hours. Bulletin. Andy Hersman works for Court TV. He's in charge of all of the audio. And Court TV is covering a trial that is very popular and helping Court TV's ratings. And Andy is working double time. That's why he cannot come up tonight after work. He's got to go home and come up in the morning. Bulletin. Do you like this country road? Score. Sunday, perfect sunny. Monday, 95% haze, but sunny. Tuesday, 95% sunny, but a haze. Wednesday, awful. Rain clouds lurking all day long, no sun. Today, Thursday was sunny, yeah. And that was not perfect, but it was 98%. And today you see that there's no bright sunshine because of the murking rain clouds. The rain pattern is all off. This rain all belongs to somebody else. It's been raining here in the Northeast for 22 years. This is a universal joke. Everybody laughs at it. The woman was asked, "Why do you take your paycheck to the bank?" And she answered, "Because it's too little to go by itself." Glendora was going to write an application to Anthony Scarpino, surrogate judge of Westchester County, and it was going to say she wanted to be an amicus curiae, friend of the court, and it was going to say that she is a friend of Joseph Cacciola, and she feels that Joseph has been cheated out of the inheritance that Joseph's mother left him. Has been cheated out of that by a sister. And that she wishes the court would give him justice. And it would be, the copy of it would be sent to the sister's lawyer. But Joseph Cacciola yesterday said that John Vogt, the lawyer for Joseph Cacciola, said it was not a good idea. So, on hearsay, Glendora abstains. This is an airport, folks. Isn't it cute? And this is the runway. That grass is a runway. And if you look over there, you'll see planes in the hangars, and you'll also see planes without hangars. They're not hung up in a closet on a hanger. It's 8:45 p.m. a.m. What are we going to rejoice about? Summer! It's summer. Would you like to have an airplane, folks? Bulletin. The in-mail of last Friday, August 20. And the in-mail of a week before that. The details have not been answered. How many? About 12. Bulletin. Brooklyn Community Access TV. Live streams the public access programs onto the internet every day, 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. So that if you have a public access program on Brooklyn, it is also on the internet all over the world. Isn't it nice to ride in the Lincoln without that whistle? That hum. Why was the Lincoln humming? It didn't know the words. Jesus calls us o'er the tumult of life's wild and restless sea. Day by day his sweet voice sounded, saying, Christian, follow me. This is the town of Ghent. We have a regular time slot, George McDermott and Glendora, on Maryland Public Access, Prince George's County, contiguous to Washington, D.C. The regular time slot is Mondays at 7 p.m. And we've had it for 5 weeks. So you see, folks, it always helps to sue. It always helps to sue lawbreakers. You can't see it in the courts because you don't get justice, but just the fact that you sue them sobers them. The teacher asked the little boy why he was absent yesterday. And the little boy says, my mother wanted me to go to the cemetery with her. And the teacher says, oh, I'm sorry. Somebody dead? And the little boy said, yeah, all of them. We have such nice animals come and eat. Had a little baby opossum. It's so cute. We have a great, great big skunk. And little skunks are afraid of it. The little skunks are marked so nicely. They all have those little white caps and a cape, C-A-P-E, emanating from the white cap. And sometimes 2 narrow stripes down the back, white stripes on the black, sometimes very wide ones. And there's one skunk who's tan and white. I thought there was something wrong with the Lincoln engine, and it's that boombox in that car up ahead. Glendora goes to Stewart's, and she has vegetarian ice cream. She brings the ice cream to Stewart's, and they put it in the freezer. And scoop it out so that she can have a vegetarian ice cream cone at Stewart's. Save cruelty to animals. And then she puts her vegetarian hot dogs into the steamer. And she can have a vegetarian hot dog. Are you charter?
Yes, I am.
Oh, you are. Is Mike still there?
Yes, he is.
Oh, goody.
You want to let him know? Because you won't be able to get in unless I let him know.
Oh, that'll help a lot. What's your name?
Bill.
Nice to meet you, Bill. My name's Vesta, Glendora.
Glendora Veston?
Yeah, Glendora Vesta.
Hang on one sec.
Okay, Bill.
That would help if I turned on the radio. Bill's at Chatham Head.
Is that an
Can you let Mike know that there's a Glendora Veston out back looking for him? Drive right around the backside.
He's not here right now.
He's not there?
He's just in there. To the left.
Is Mike behind you? Is that Mike behind
No,
you?
that's not Mike.
Sorry.
Try around back. He might be out back.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you, Bill.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Do you know computers are in the Bible? Eve said to Adam, do you want an apple too?
That's wonderful.
Did you hear him laugh? And he said, that's wonderful. This is Taconic Telephone. Now, this is a telephone company, but they don't own a cable company. They did, but Charter bought it. Aren't they wonderful? Aren't they wonderful? Electromagnetic waves. Don't you love them? Oh, I've always loved television. For 50 years I've loved television. No, 52 or 3 years. I might. And here's some more of them over here. If you could understand the electromagnetic spectrum, somehow or other, you could understand how God does all these wonderful things. love this plant. And look how it grows. It grows and grows. All the nice plants got mowed down. The Queen Anne's lace. The goldenrod. We have something new. We have these purple flowers. They're new this week. Walmart. You know, it's really wonderful. You go to the stores and buy anything you want. Look at all those at Chapman Glendora takes, 40 of them. $40 for rest. And then the other cars push her to work. The policeman stopped a man and he says, you don't have... Get Andrew Hersman, who has driven all the way from Long Island. We got one message from him at 12:50 p.m. that he's a little behind because he got hung up in the Bronx. Wouldn't you know? Wouldn't you know? God bless that little animal if it was an animal. And 8 editions are done. 8 editions. And this is a fine young man to do this for just one person, what he is going through. He must have left Long Island around 9 o'clock. That's such a dangerous intersection. We handled it right. And here he is coming up to give Glendora a computer. One of his old computers that he rebuilt. He's a fine young man of good morals. And here's this one-lane bridge. And he's a fine young man of generosity. He's been a Glendora fan ever since 1993. Andrew is the one who has a Cablevision hate page and has had for years, and he has good reason. But you have to pray for those people. You just have to pray for them. I'm on my way to the museum, where I am to meet him. And so, southeast meets northwest. Brought him cold orange juice, and I have lots of water for him to wash his hands and face and cool down. It is very hot today, folks. I have to give you the record. Okay, Sunday was perfect. Sun, no mist, no haze, azure blue sky, 100%. Monday and Tuesday were good, slight haze. Wednesday was no good. Thursday was the same as Monday and Tuesday. And yesterday, Friday was the same. And today it's the same. You have that haze. You don't have a clear blue azure sky. And as you were, I had to find a shady place for 1980 Lincoln. It's terrible to have that sun beating down on him all day. We have to. So glad to see you.
Nice to see you.
You come on up in the cool. You are a great person.
Sorry I'm late, but there was
Don't worry about it. I'm so glad to see
nasty
you.
traffic out there.
Yeah, and the Bronx, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Right, Bronx. Well, this is the museum, Andrew.
Wow. Holy cow, look at this. This is amazing.
These are some of the legal papers.
Wow.
And I have here for you a drink, a cold drink.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. Here, nice cold drink.
Your directions were fine, it was just the traffic that was crazy, you know?
And I laughed when you said you got tied up in the Bronx, but it's not funny.
Oh, it's thanks so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Now this is like, for instance, column 23, column 24, column 25. Those happen to be recent legal papers down there.
Ah.
There's hats. Everybody wants to know where the hats are. Well, there's quite a few boxes of hats. And over here is like winter clothing.
Oh, fantastic.
And this is a good working desk. And this is a very nice lantern. I think I left it on something accidentally, but so I bought new batteries for it. But this is good, this little light here.
Oh, very good.
Nice little light. And I can't get things to stay on the wall, Andy. Why
that's
is
too
that?
bad.
Why is that? Is it
Probably the humidity, huh?
you think so, or do you think it's because
Yeah.
it's aluminum?
What's it made out of?
Aluminum.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And that's Franklin's mom and pa. And this is Glendora, the CBS TV party. Cablevision! Certificate of completion. Now, this is a chest that my father made out of cigar boxes.
Wow.
And coming along here is it's archives and archives and archives and Franklin's newspaper articles. They're about along in here. Now,
Okay.
over here, Andrew, is the index. God bless you coming all that distance. What time did you leave?
Around 9 o'clock, you know. That's all right.
But this is all the index. All the boxes are numbered, and this is what's in them.
Wow.
Well,
Unbelievable.
you'd certainly have to have one, wouldn't you?
You're very organized. That's a good thing.
And
Oh,
let's
boy.
see. I think that's the drift of it. That's the drift of it.
Fantastic.
Well, I'm glad you like it. Won't you have a nice, cool chair?
Okay.
Right there. Nice rocking chair, Andrew. Right there. Nice rocking.
Now, is this where you keep all your tapes also? Or?
Yes, that's what I meant to say. All of the tapes are over here that are not current. Yeah.
Now, did you get a chance to look at any of them, or?
Yes, I have the box over in the office where
good.
where you're going to choose
Okay.
what you want. That went over yesterday.
Okay.
My goodness, it was heavy. And I picked a box that was 1996 to like well, maybe a couple of years.
Okay.
And that should be the interview with Charles Dolan. I don't know if you think.
Oh yeah, that's great. Of course, that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
And I think there's an interview there with Gerald Levin.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, that's
okay. So you got the bigwigs on there, huh?
A lot of big. Oh, and also the Robert Wright interview that showed up on David Linderman.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Did you want to take a picture of me?
Yeah, you know what? Let me get my
Don't
camera.
hurry. Yeah.
No, well, it's
But
okay.
if you take a picture of me, then I can take off his socks.
Yeah, okay.
This is Andrew's digital camera. Is it a Sony?
No, it's a Canon actually.
Oh, Canon. Oh, really?
Yeah, I use Canon because I like the lenses better.
Well, that's the thing. You know, I've said many times about Canon. They'll make a lens and then they build a camera around
That's
it.
right. That's exactly what they do.
And you just can't beat Canons for lens. You're right.
So
Sony's pretty good on whistles and bells.
yeah, they got the good electronics, but you know, it's a trade-off.
Trade-off. So that's one of these little digital tapes.
Little digital tapes.
And how
yeah.
many minutes?
This fits in at 63 minutes are on there.
Well, now that's wonderful.
Yeah, so that's about an hour, a little bit
Such
over
a
an
little
hour.
camera.
And it goes right in there. And
Oh,
we
that's
close it up.
Andrew, you know, I had a Canon camcorder
Mm-hmm.
in 1997, 87.
Oh, way back.
1987, and Andrew, it had a remote control.
Uh-huh.
It had a character generator?
Oh, and everything built in, huh?
Yeah, they don't
great.
make them the way they used to.
No, they don't.
Here's your
They don't.
towel, sweetie.
Oh, thank you.
Here's your
There
towel.
we go, thanks. Yeah, it's pretty humid today, huh? Jeez.
Yes, it is. But I'm glad you didn't have rain.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay.
Let me get out of the... Or you want me in
No, I
the
want you
museum?
in there. There we go. Explain everything, what's going on here. What is this?
Well, I would say it's what, 200 boxes, would you say?
200 boxes.
Yes, and down here, for instance, are Franklin's newspaper clippings. He was a newspaper reporter for 27 years, and he cut out every article that he wrote, and he pasted them all in 3-ring binders. And so that archive is preserved. And then over here are recent legal papers within the past year, these, which you can see that says legal papers here, there, and right here. Where does it say legal papers there, legal papers? Okay. And then there are, the clothes are over here, the winter clothes. There's one that says bedding. CDs, the music CDs that Franklin used to listen to. Think drawer. And over, we'll just go straight down the, what we call, see this is a trailer, so let's see, this is the trailer goes this way, so this is the starboard side and this is the port. They have to use Long Island terms for Andrew came all the way up from Long Island. 1980 Lincoln shop manuals. Now, so you go down the starboard side. These are commercials that were sent to CNN in Atlanta. This is Glendora's mother and father, Franklin as a youth. Now we're over onto the port side.
There we go.
This is a Cablevision. This certifies that Glendora is hereby awarded the certificate of completion for having successfully completed a Cablevision access training workshop on this date, 18th day of August, 2000. That's all wrong. I completed it in 1983. This is Glendora at a CBS party in this posh place in Manhattan. Now over here is quite important. This is a very comfortable desk, and here is the index to the museum by column. Column 1. Box 1-1, box 1-2, box 1-3, box 1-4. And it goes all the way up to, there's 30, something like 30 columns, I think. And each column has about 6 drawers, 6 boxes. So that's very important. That's the, where you find things in the museum. In fact, yesterday when you asked for those tapes, I was less than 3 minutes. I was less than 3 minutes finding those tapes.
Wow. That's organization, all right.
Yeah, well, just think how long it would have taken.
Oh, yeah.
Now we go down the... This is the last smile of Franklin. Our friend took him for a ride in his flashy red convertible. Isn't that sweet?
Wow.
And he had a baseball cap that said baseball fan on it. Oh, here's Franklin and Bob Hope. That's kind of nice.
Oh, yeah.
Here is a chat with... No, this is... My first TV show was Glendora and Her Picture Party. It was a kid's show because I wanted to start out small. And this is, the next one was the SS Glendora. It was a ship.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the skipper and the kids were the sailors. And I said SS stood for steamship. And I said, no, it stands for stupid show. But this was the successor when the satellite came out. And this was in 1958. I was on WRGB, General Electric. Tremendously prestigious TV
That's in
station.
Albany, that station.
Yes, it is. Albany,
Yeah.
Schenectady, and Troy.
That's right.
And it's a huge signal. It goes
Oh,
about
yeah.
70 miles.
Oh, well aware of
But
that
this
one.
was
Yeah.
Glendora on Satellite 6. And one of the commercials was Cocoa Marsh, and it was live. 5 days a week I had to eat, drink, spoon, Cocoa Marsh. Isn't that outrageous? I wish I had that figure today.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now, this is the port side. These are clothes. And there's lots of TV archives, huge boxes of archives.
Amazing.
Why don't I take this down and show you some audio taped conversations
Sounds good.
to show you how those pile up. I find everybody's conversation interesting. I just find it interesting. I never erase a conversation. Oh, this is something, Andrew. This is back when commercials were required to be on 1 inch.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, this is channel 2 CBS. But see, everything had to be on 1 inch.
Oh yeah, those are old. Classic.
Yeah, but where would you play them, Andrew? Do you know of do you know of a 1 inch machine anymore?
There's not too many left, I'll tell you that.
I wonder where one would find them.
Back in the 80s, I used to work on one, but
You did? Where was that?
over at American Movie Classics.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they used to record on 1 inch.
They did?
Yes, back in the 80s, they don't do that anymore. I don't think it's outdated, you know.
That was, they took the film.
Yeah.
Put it on the
They put it on the 1 inch. Yeah.
Videotape.
Yep.
Now over here, Andrew, if you want to stick your nose in. See these conversations. Look at
Wow.
them. Look at them. Now each one of these is 90 minutes per side. That would be 180 minutes each one of these tapes.
Wow.
And there's the index, of course, too. But I find these conversations, and many of them, of course, are used in court
Fantastic.
for evidence.
Oh yeah.
But this is a whole bunch of Sony microcassettes. That's something to see, isn't it?
That's amazing. All the treasures.
Yeah.
You don't call it the museum for nothing.
Well, of course, this is a record of how bad the courts are in the United States. In a country that prides itself on justice, okay? In a country that prides itself on democracy, this is a terrible record, the depravity of the courts.
Absolutely.
And it's here. And don't tell the judges where it is. It would be very nice to have a bonfire here.
It's top secret.
Here's hats. Everybody wants to know where you keep your hat.
Oh, look at that. Purple one?
Yeah. Here's a nice St. Patrick's Day one.
That's fantastic.
Oh, there's lots of
The
hats.
hat collection.
One from Chet, Andrew.
Oh, that's great.
Now, there's just one other thing I'd have to go to the museum to show. But I'd like to have you see a box of VHS archives of a chap of Glendora.
That's, yes.
Those where we put the two attached. Do you see archives here? Google papers. This is good. We're going to put it through. These are files. Bruiser Ken. Bruiser Ken was the guy who, it's not funny, he inflicted 6 bruises on me and shot poor Franklin in the jaw and knocked him to the floor. And Franklin was 78 years old.
Oh,
And only 130 pounds.
unbelievable.
Microcassettes I keep seeing. And then he lied that we attacked him. The typical U.S. attorney lie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, come on. Finances. Able reason. That's where I see Able reason. Bruiser Ken. See, the VHS came out later. Like so far.
Ah, okay.
Physics books. Ever hear how it evolved to this stage?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, at first, I thought of keeping the apartment and sublet it, and keeping the archives in the apartment.
Right.
And here, Andrew, why don't you have a chair? And yeah, why? Because you're shooting in the light, you don't want that.
You're absolutely
Does
right.
it have a backlight? Does it have a backlight?
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah, this is much better.
And that didn't work out, and it would have because there's so many IBM people up around Dutchess County, because they come and go,
Right.
and they need a temporary place. so sublet. And then from that, I thought of a shed, you know, these cute little sheds they have?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I thought of that, but they weren't big enough. And I didn't want to throw anything away because, for sure, the first thing you throw away, you're going to want it the next week.
Of course.
And so I didn't want to throw away. And I saw a trailer, tractor trailer going down the street, and I said, that's what we need, something that big. Okay, yes, that would definitely do it. That would hold everything, nothing would have to be thrown away. So the problem was, well, where are you going to find one? Guess what? You open the yellow pages, storage trailers for rent, storage office trailers for rent. And so that made it very easy, and I called up, and they were renting them for about $85 a month. And then the next problem is, where do you find the land to put it on? And so I put up a little flyer, and I said that Glendora would like to have land to put her storage trailer on. And I put up here and there, and a nice man called up, and he thought he was just a person, but he had a few complicating problems with the land that he owned as far as the town was concerned. But he put me in touch with this fellow here, and you can see the expanse of this man's property. And he called me up right away, and he said, I'll rent your place for $75. This man is a multi-millionaire. His name is Bob Cohen, and he is a multi-millionaire. And he owns Amanda's Fireplace.
Mm-hmm.
And it amused me when I called him up in the wintertime that he had gone to Florida for the winter. And I said, Bob Cohen has 150 fireplaces and he goes to Florida to get warm? And so he rented it to me for $75. And then I said, Bob, you think I should own the storage trailer, or do you think I should rent it? He said, definitely own it. I said, where do you buy one? He says, here, take this magazine. He made me all kinds of copies of the ads. He says, call up these ads. Well, the man I liked the best was in Rhode Island because he was working on a Saturday. And his name is Tony Peter Pauley. Peter Pauley. That is Peter Paul in Italian.
Right.
And I was very impressed with him. And he wanted to come up the next day. $1,600 is what he wanted for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was the answer.
There you go.
And he came and he placed it. And I've talked to him since. I'm talking about the problem, how do you hang things on aluminum and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how it evolved, and I think that's kind of interesting. And
Oh, yeah.
I left out one step. I found somebody with a shed that the previous owner of her house had made, and it was exceptional shed. It was better than ones you would buy.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was the first museum. That was the little museum.
Mm-hmm.
And we carried over the heavy stuff. But on November 4th, Election Day,
Mm-hmm.
by the way, the trailer arrived about October 16th of the year 2003.
Mm-hmm.
But on Election Day, sweet man named Joseph, it's a nice Italian name, Salamone. On Election Day, he came up and he brought all the stuff from, he was Debbie's boyfriend. But I rented it from him. He brought up all the stuff in his van,
Wow.
and he placed it on November 4th, and he built those steps.
Really?
I didn't have any steps, and he just picked up cinder blocks that were lying around his property, and he built those steps.
Isn't
So
that
thank
great?
you, Joseph Salamone. That was on Election Day, November 4th.
Fantastic.
And on that day, Debbie's mother had died, Joan, and she had a cat in the Bronx. Her apartment was in the Bronx. She had this cat for 15 years and never left the apartment.
Wow.
Her name was Sheba, the cat. And Joseph didn't want the cat, and Debbie already had 3 cats, and Sheba was not an easy cat to get along with. And they were all in misery, and Joan up in heaven was in misery. So I opened up my big mouth, and I said, I will take Sheba. And I did.
That's
and
great.
then when I finalized the museum and maybe changed my location, Sheba's godmother took her, who was a fantastic woman with cats. And she made Sheba a normal cat.
Aw,
She made her a normal cat.
that's fantastic.
Okay.
Very good. Oh, I love it. You have such great stories, I tell you. It's so interesting because you know, when you watch TV, nowadays it's just all explosions and shooting, and you know, and it's nice to have somebody tell you a story, you know. I mean, you know, it's something different, you know.
And you know, that's